There's something I've been thinking about for quite some time. And, I don't think there's a right time or a wrong time to talk about it, but here I am talking about it. And, as someone who's been in the photography space for close to 20 years, I've really been seeing how things are shifting, not only for myself, but just the industry itself. I've spent my career building in the editorial and commercial space. The money was good, the adventures, the clientele, all of that has been real, and I'm really proud of that. And now I'm doing something that honestly scares me. I'm building out a fine art practice on the internet in front of all of you. So the question I want to answer is basically, what does it look like when a working photographer decides to do something new? And not only new, but in front of people watching you figure it out. And that's what this channel is going to be about. And this is a video that starts that journey. Now, I do want to make something clear. I'm not leaving the editorial and commercial space. I'm only adding more to the practice that I currently have. When you're assigned stories from different outlets, oftentimes you're doing work for somebody else. And of course, you have to pay the bills. You want to get recognized. You want to get published. All of those things matter. But when you realize that it's taking away from like your personal practice or something that you'd like to do, the assignments get to be a bit redundant. And so in this particular season of my life or my photography career, I'm realizing that doing more personal projects is what I'd rather be doing. And plus I have the time now that things have shifted in my world. And this is how my whole career began, with personal projects. I didn't have any clients when I started making photos in 2008. So as I was navigating the space, it was made clear to me that I had to, make work in order to get work. So now I'm in a different phase, or going back to the old ways of what I used to do in order to get to the next phase of what my photography life looks like. Ever since I've been adding more into my practice, which includes filmmaking, I realized there's just so many things that I want to explore as a fine art photographer. And for years, honestly, I've told myself that being a fine art photographer was like a luxury. So once I've made it in this spot, then I'd have to leave in order to become this person. And now I realize, that I've just been in my own little world with that. I'm just adding more into my practice so that way I can be a much more thoughtful storyteller, a thoughtful person, a thoughtful human. What made me come to this moment is my friend Shakara. Every time I would talk to her, she'd talk about grants, she'd talk about artist residencies, she'd talk about all of these opportunities to exhibit your work. And so this was maybe all of 2023 or 24, and I started listening to her and paying attention to how she was, continuing to stay relevant in her practice. And I'm like, well, how do you even sign up? Where do you find these things? And she gave me a few resources, and I kind of took it from there. And so the moment came where I decided to have this shift when I got into my first artist residency. It was, oh my goodness, it changed me in so many ways. I was in a quiet place called Hambidge Center. It's in northern Georgia. I was there for 2 weeks, and just complete silence. There was no distractions that kept me from making work. And it was one of the most fulfilling things I'd ever done as far as an artist, as far as being an artist. That moment brought me to here as to why I want to become, well-versed in this area. But also, there may be other photographers who are going through a transition as I am right now, just trying to, figure out if you want to continue in the space that you're in, or if you want to develop an artist practice for yourself. And, I feel like I want to be able to share something that's very tender, very scary, very out of this way for me. Most of my previous content has definitely been around, how to do things. And there may be a little of that here in this iteration of the channel, but I also recognize that as I am learning, I also want to share that same knowledge. So it is scary to be in this new space, but I feel like I trust myself a bit more now to share where I am and to help navigate where I'm going. So here's what I'm inviting you to. Again, this is not a channel where I am giving out tutorials or notes on how to do things. I don't even want to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I know a little bit, but now in this moment, I am allowing myself to remain accountable for showing up for myself as I am on this journey and to share it with you all. So what you're going to see on this channel is an actual process. You're going to see the work itself. You're going to see the assignments that I'm still taking. You're also going to see the residencies that I go on, and how I'm documenting those moments. And you're going to see something that clicks, like the moments that where I'm like, all of this is finally making sense. So it's less of a do as I say type of thing. It's more of a, maybe if I take a little bit of that little piece, then it can work for what I'm trying to do in my own practice. I think it's something very special about watching someone have that aha moment or like really figure it out. I've enjoyed doing that and watching other people, strive and thrive in their career. And, I feel like, again, I'm in a place where I don't mind showing or sharing what it takes to do certain things. And I do understand like there's a level of responsibility when it comes to this. But I also want to say that with that responsibility comes a bit of vulnerability and access. So wherever there's a chance for me to show or share something that was freely given to me, I don't mind handing that over to you all. It's something about how there may be people who are building this behind closed doors or who feel as if this is a very siloed experience or you have to show the highlights of what you've done. I naturally don't want to do that because I make mistakes. Again, I'm getting close to 20 years and I still make mistakes, but those mistakes allow me to see where I can grow. Being around other photographers who are like mentors, or for the photographers who are my friends, who we are genuinely giving advice to each other. Those are the things that really matter, not just as a fine art photographer, but just as a photographer and as a person in general. So by all means, I want you to follow along, subscribe if this feels like the kind of thing that you need, because this is only the beginning. But before you leave, I've really been thinking about how I've been envisioning this journey to look like. At one point I started, and I should finish, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I've, seen many people who have gone through this same process. Taking myself on these artist dates. Also, what else have I done? I've been doing the morning pages. It may not be every morning, but when I do those morning pages, I am compelled to do something greater with my day. But what I do want to say is that the channel is not turning into this 12-step program. The channel is turning into something that is more supportive, more realistic, more real life. Understanding what the barriers may be, understanding what access you already have, where you can build something that's similar to this. So a process can look any way that you want. It could be an organized mess, or it could be something that just kind of comes out of your head come out of your brain at that day. There'll be times where you'll see me kind of ideate a photo project or just randomly go on walks while I'm trying to figure out how I want a project to be. Ideas come to people in the craziest of ways. My dreams, or at least my ideas, they come to me in dreams. And I have to write them down so I don't forget them. So, even me talking about that is part of a process. So, if anything, I want you to know that I'm here with you. We're here together. We're going to figure this out together. But in the meantime, what I do want you to know is that whatever you're doing now, you're doing well. And a practice is just what it is a practice. This series itself will really keep me accountable for staying on top of some things. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where this process is going or how it will unfold. I do know that to be true, but I know my intention. And I know that as I continue to show up, then that's how we figure it out. So what does it look like when a working photographer decides to start something new? I guess we'll figure that out. See y'all in the next one. Cool.